Hey y'all, it is I, Anthony the Canadian Guy, and welcome to Wrestlesode, the solution to your wrestling information problems. Wrestlesode is a member of the Win Column Sports Network, so remember to check us out at wincolumnsports.ca to be kept up to date on everything happening here in Alberta in the world of wrestling. Today, we are talking PWA Revelation, the go-home show before the Prairie Wrestling Alliance 19th anniversary show, which will be taking place in Edmonton on March 28th. This was a great little show. It took place at the Cedar Brae Community Centre in Calgary on Saturday, March 7th. It advanced some storylines going into this. It got introduced to Gigi Rey for the very first time here down in Calgary, so the Calgary audience is familiar with our new PWA Women's Champion. It was a great show, and I can't wait to talk about it. I was joined today by Paul from the YYCWrestlingHub, so we're going to nerd out about that here in just a minute. But before we get into that here today, just a couple of quick things to note. Heavy Metal is opening up his own wrestling academy. It's called the Top Talent Professional Wrestling Academy, which is going to be opening up on April 2nd, 2020, because people thought April 1st was going to be a April Fool's joke. But it's opening up April 2nd. They are accepting new students, open to all talent, looking from any experience level, from brand new to getting some rust out. They're accepting anybody there. Your head trainers are going to be Heavy Metal and the original Marky, obviously two huge names here in Alberta, as well as they're going to have the guest trainer, Stampede legend Red Thunder. And if you've listened to anybody talk about Red Thunder, he is one hell of a great person to be learning from. So that's going to be really awesome. If you're interested, send an email over to toptalentbrand@gmail.com for details, registration, pricing, all that information. Just get in contact with Heavy Metal. As well, this Saturday, I will be traveling down to Lethbridge once again to interview some of the stars of the PPW of Pure Power Wrestling, because I haven't had that much experience down in Lethbridge. I obviously did the Power Rumble recently, and I was very impressed by what I saw down there in Lethbridge, and I want to get some of the stories of some of these different talents that they have down there in Lethbridge. So I'm going down this Saturday, so expect to be hearing a bunch of different interviews over the next week or two with some of the stars of the Lethbridge scene. So let's quickly hear from our sponsors over at the Win Column Sports Network, and let's talk some PWA Revelation.
Hello friends, this is Spencer Love interrupting your regularly scheduled podcast experience to remind you to tune in to wincolumnsports.ca every Wednesday for Conversations with Love, the one-on-one interview podcast featuring the best of the best in Canadian pro wrestling and available wherever podcasts are played. Tune in to CWL on the WCSN for your previews, reviews, breaking news, and now interviews, proudly brought to you by Beercade YEG.
Hey everybody, Anthony back. I am joined with Paul from the YYC Wrestling Hub. Paul, how are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing great. It's like we just finished talking.
It's like we do this every weekend by the second show, and I have to ask you that question again. You go, I'm slightly less good than I was the first time because we talked.
Yeah, slightly less good than I was an hour ago.
Yeah, it's getting later. Let's wrap this up. No, I'm just kidding. But today we are talking PWA Revelation, which took place at the Cedar Brae Community Centre on Saturday, March 7th here in Calgary. This is the go-home show to their PWA 19th anniversary show. They advanced a lot of storylines in this show. They worked a lot of stuff up that has built incredible hype for me to go into this 19th anniversary show. So I'm so excited to talk about this because this was a great show.
I hope we have a big Calgary contingent up there.
Yeah, I hope so. If anybody's hearing this and you're from like the Calgary area and you're like, I don't know if I can make it up to the PWA show, like let's get like 30 of us and rent a bus. Let's just do that. Why not? We can come. We'll come with a bus full people.
That would be a lot of fun. I think Michael Allen and Richard Clark would hate us even more.
Oh, that's even more reason to do it. Oh, we'll get a bus. I'll just put like bus people. We'll be the bus people bus.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I was actually talking to somebody. I was like, with how much Michael Allen and Richard Clark hates bus people, would the best sign to bring to a show just be a giant bus stop, just like a metal bus stop with a sign? It says like wait here or something. I would love that. But
I can't imagine how big of a scandal it would be if someone got a photo of him on a bus.
Oh, all right. So this is a challenge to anybody out there who knows in around where Michael Allen Richard Clark travels. If you see him ever on a bus and you take a photo and you send it to me, I'm going to make sure that it's well shared across social medias. So I'm really sorry, Michael Allen, Richard Clark. If you're ever in a pinch and you need to be on a bus, you better be careful because the Wrestlesode Army has got cameras. That's not a very good threat. There is no Wrestlesode Army.
Yeah, you got to work on that a little bit better.
Yeah, I got to work.
It's better than Wrestlesode Universe, but
the Wrestlesode Army. What should I call myself? The Wrestlesode heel faction. I don't know. I don't my WrestleNauts. There we go. All right. Anyways,
the
WrestleSodians. I don't dislike that. It sounds proper and silly at the same time. Why not? Name my audience. If you guys want to name something, if you guys are listening out there and you're just like, oh, we should be called ourselves this, and you're a part of that group, which should that group be called? All 4 of you out there, let me know what you think. All right, let's talk about PWA Revelation. The first match of the night, we had one half of Above Average Joe's Aiden Adams taking on one, I guess it's technically half right now, of Millennial Rebels in Mo Jabari, Kid Chocolate. Fun little match to start off the show. So I'll just be 100% honest because I like to be 100% honest. The crowd was kind of dead for this first match, and I don't think that was at the fault of any of the competitors because this was a very hot crowd. I don't know what it was. This crowd just needed time to wake up. They didn't have enough alcohol in them or something, but it was a bit quiet at the beginning, and it shouldn't have been because this was a really good match.
Well, I think it was just the crowd loves Mo so much and loves Aiden so much. It's so hard to pick one over the other. So you just kind of like sit on your hands or you cheer for both and it just kind of becomes white noise and drowns everything else out.
There you go. Well, we can use that as well because, I mean, it's true. Everybody loves Aiden Adams and everybody loves Mo Jabari. Let's talk about Mo Jabari's new trunks. He had the continent of Africa picture right on the back of his trunks there. It looks really good on him, man.
Yeah, it's. I'd be curious to ask him how his trip to Africa went because that seems like such a cool life experience.
I think that would be an amazing thing to ask him. Hey, Mo, if you're listening to this randomly, I'm going to come talk to you about getting an interview here pretty soon because I'd love to talk about what went down in Africa, your time, your everything. I'm coming for you, Mo. Just like everybody else in Alberta wrestling. If you're a wrestler, I'm coming for you eventually. I'm going to get there. I'm coming for that interview. I'm talking about interviews. I'm not actually going to fight you because I can't beat any one of you. So let's talk about how this match kind of worked. So at the very end, we had Mo Jabari kind of faking a leg injury after jumping off the top rope. Looked pretty legit right at the beginning there. Aiden was kind of like, what's going on? Stops, gets up. The ref turns around. We had Mo Jabari be like, haha, and then he super kicks Aiden Adams with probably the greatest super kick I've seen in a long time. That super kick looked so damn good.
It sounded so good too.
Oh yeah,
right?
Like the whole
Mo is one of the masters at getting that perfect super kick sound that you had. But it wasn't the only time that Aiden beat up a grounded object. Remember at the start where Mo Jabari took his shirt off and threw it at Aiden?
And then then Aiden goes and he's like, "Oh, I'll attack this thing." Does elbow drops, does leg drops every single time. That was when the crowd was at its loudest. Though. Yeah, we were yelling top rope, but he's like, no. He gave us that look like, no, I'm not doing that. Like, damn it, gotta fight that shirt.
But there was some really good psychology in this match too, where Aiden was working Mo's leg before Mo quote unquote injured it, because there was the sunset flip pin attempt.
Yep,
where Aiden reversed it and then locked in a single leg Boston Crab.
He locked it with 2 times in this match. I believe he got that Boston Crab in there.
I thought that was going to be the finish. I thought Mo was going to tap out. It was just such a good transition straight into that, and it looked vicious.
It was just a really fun match, really good match, a good way to start the show. It definitely got the crowd going as the show went on, but just right at the beginning, I was like, come on, guys, start yelling and stuff. Do stuff, because you're all being too quiet. But really good first match there. Aiden Adams and Mo Jabari. Congratulations, Mo Jabari. Aiden Adams, man, when are we going to see these tag champs get defended again?
I don't know. That they're not announced for Edmonton either.
They're not announced yet. They've got a couple of matches announced. At the very end of this, we'll talk about the matches that are announced. And maybe we'll even predict what matches we should be seeing still, because I can almost guarantee we got to see the tag champs get defended.
That'd be great.
Yeah, we got to figure out who he would be challenging. But not only that, but we also don't know what's happening with the Mayhem Championship at the show either. So
yeah, Thickness doesn't have a match either.
Yeah, we'll figure something out. We'll talk about it a little bit. We'll see what we can do. Next match, we had the Man of Two Minds, Jack Pride, versus the Spaceman, Barry Grayson. These 3 guys did such a good job tonight.
These three guys.
We needed to start that chant. I don't know why it didn't happen. I was waiting for like a really good spot where they both were just like on the mat. But it just didn't come after we decided to do the These Three Guys chant. But man, I love Jack. He's so happy. Pride, still such a dick. Though the spots that Pride had in this, where he would turn from Jack to Pride, were like incredibly legitimate because, no, that was a little bit later on. The most legitimate time that the transition happened. I'll talk about that in the next match. But this match, we didn't get to see Pride too much. He came out for just a very little bit of time. But man, Jack Pride, so good. Ended up winning the match with as Pride. But it took him like a good, like, let's say 5 or 6 minutes before he went from Jack to Pride.
Yeah, it took him a while. Jack Pride is one of the best in Alberta at having a character that's out there. Him and Cheetah Bear, I think, are 1 and 2 in that regard. And with the success of guys like Danhausen and Warhorse out on the indie scene, they're neck and neck with those two guys.
No, absolutely. And it also, you got to give him credit, because when you work with a character that's so out there like that, the comfortability factor that you have to have in performing in something like that is got to be so high, because especially when you think about it for Jack, because Jack's playing two different people of completely different personalities and archetypes who not only have to work well together, but also are a perfect foil for one another to advance storylines. And to have to be able to transition between one and the other, cut promos as both of them, it just goes to show you why Jack Pride is one of the best talents out there right now.
Oh, for sure. And those two, if they post a bit more of their character work, I think they're going to be very much in demand outside of Alberta too.
Yeah. Well, we did get to see Jack Pride recently head up. He was at PPW, the Prairie Pro Wrestling up in Saskatoon. But yeah, like seeing him travel around, maybe BC, more around Alberta, get to see him further out past Canada, even maybe heading down into the States, like in North Dakota or a Montana or something like that. Maybe Seattle for Defy, that'd be cool. Anyways, yeah, but this was a really great match. And also, Spaceman Barry Grayson, I can't talk about the good of Spaceman Barry Grayson enough. One of the chillest guys, really cool guy, clearly one of the most over guys in the PWA, came out obviously to his Spaceman song, which then changed into the Candyman, started throwing candy at the audience. Come on, could you be a bigger face, Spaceman? Come on. Like, now you have to start giving candy to everybody. We all love you. You don't have to do that.
Yeah, he's just trying to bribe us.
He's bribing children with candy, but that's so effective. We know that it works really well. Well done. But so I wish I ended up getting one of those like candy canes or something that he was throwing around. But
I think they were glow sticks.
Yeah, he did some glow sticks, but he also was giving out candy. He usually gives out the glow sticks, but yeah, there was a lot of candy going on. That's why he was coming out with the Candyman song. But this was just a really, really fun match. Just like a good, like, just spot after spot. I really love Swallowed Pride, man. Jack hits that one-legged code breaker just beautifully, man.
It is fantastic. It's one of the most protected finishes in PWA too.
That's what ended up getting him the win in this match. Unfortunately, therefore, the Spaceman Barry Grayson didn't get the win, but congratulations to Jack Pride. But I love Jack Pride's character so much. He's one of those characters inside of like Alberta that you have to follow no matter what's happening, no matter what storyline is in. It's just like Jack's just one of those guys. It's like, gotta watch his promos. You just gotta know what's happening in the world of Jack Pride. I gotta get his interview. I already know I've got one lined up with him. Haha! By the way, everybody, I have an interview lined up with Jack Pride, which will be happening here towards the end of the month during the PWA 19th anniversary show. Spoiling that.
Are you going to be interviewing Jack, or are you going to be interviewing Pride?
So here's I don't know if I can spoil this on my podcast, but maybe both. Oh, maybe. We'll see. We'll see how that all goes down. But
well, fingers crossed.
Right, I know, right? Les, congratulations to Jack Pride. Next, we had the PWA Mayhem Championship match. We have the Thickness Reed Matthews defending against Davey O'Doyle in a submission match. This was one of the best wrestling matches of the night. This would have taken probably my match of the night if it wasn't for that main event, which was just, we'll talk about that when it gets there. These two work super well. Davey O'Doyle might be like one of my favorite indie guys going right now, because not only is he really good in the ring, his character work is really good, his crowd work is really good. I love him as a promo. He's a heel, so I have to hate him. Screw you, Davey. Getting mad at me for wearing my t-shirt in the audience. I heard that. But the Thickness, though, I love the Thickness. He is handily one of the best wrestlers in Alberta right now. There was one spot in this match that looked pretty rough, though, and I want to talk about it because I had to ask the Thickness about it today because I was curious how it happened. So there was a point where Davey was opening up the ropes after he tossed Thickness, and Thickness was going to jump through the ropes, except his hand slipped on the rope, and the rope shut down as Thickness was jumping through the air, and he kind of clotheslines the rope with his arm, his shoulder and upper neck, and just kind of falls back into the ring. And it looked rough, and it looked like it hurt. In the moment, though, Thickness did a great job of he let it go. I asked him today, though, I was like, how do you feel today? He's like, sore, I'm glad it's Sunday.
Well, it's also day 380 of his reign.
We have surpassed 365 days. He has currently been the PWA Mayhem champion now for over a year. When we did his interview, I know we were closing in on a year, so that's awesome that we have now surpassed it.
Yeah, and just thinking back to the matches he's had, he's had Last Man Standing. He's had chairs, Capture the Flag, 6-way tables elimination match, a Falls Count Anywhere against Michael Richard Blaze that we saw in January.
Which was beautiful.
And now a submission match.
He is doing it all, man. He is a very legitimate champion.
He might be the most versatile wrestler in Alberta.
I can't disagree with that. And he cuts a good promo. He's a very good talker. He's got a great look. And he definitely has one of the best chants in all of Alberta because he's too thick as fuck. All those chants just go to prove that he is amazing. I brought my friend Matt to this show. He was his first time ever at an indie wrestling show. He really liked it. Thickness was one of his favorites. And he was telling me, he's like, you should tell him he needs to get a shirt that says Down with the Thickness. I'm like, that's brilliant.
Yeah, that's a good one, too.
That's a good one. I'm like, damn, he's got to get that. But congratulations. We ended up having the Thickness, Reed Matthews retaining here, winning with it. It was a crossface, was it not? It was away from us, but it was totally a crossface.
Yeah, it was a crossface.
100% a crossface that he had there against Davey. Davey didn't take take too long before he had to tap, so he must have had that cinched in really deep. So congratulations to the Thickness, and you're 400th defense, essentially. So that's amazing. I'm so happy for the Thickness. He's such a good champion. We then had our intermission, a quick little intermission here before we came back, and we had our women's match of the night, Taryn from Accounting taking on Kat Von Hees. I am so happy to see TFA down back in Calgary once again. Such a natural and good heel. Kat Von Hees, obviously the German powerhouse. Incredibly talented, man. I love Kat Von Hees.
So it's really interesting that you say Taryn from Accounting is a great heel because...
did I say heel?
She was over like Rover. She was definitely a face. There were signs in the crowd for her. There was everything. People brought calculators.
Did I say great heel? I meant to say great face. But maybe. I don't know. Can we call her a great face after what happened last night?
She is a face until tax season is over.
That's true. Until she is done with your taxes.
I don't want to be audited.
Yeah, I would be scared. TFA, she can kick me during a handshake all she wants as long as I don't have to pay the government $2,000 something probably. That's what it usually is. But so let's talk about what happened in this match. It was once again a really good, solid match. Kat Von Hees. Taryn from Accounting. I know she's relatively new, but she's so smooth. I don't know what it is about the women's division in Alberta, but man, is it damn good. We have some of the most talented women wrestlers. I don't care where you are. We have some of the most talented women wrestlers, period.
Yeah, it's really come into its own the last couple of years.
Oh, 100%. You know what? I like the women's division around Alberta more than I like the women's division inside of AEW. I'll be 100% honest about that. I love AEW, but I always found their women's division lacking. Yet I look at the Alberta wrestling scene and not here. We have the best characters. We have really good storylines. We've got incredibly talented wrestlers. I have no complaints with those female wrestlers in Alberta at all.
Absolutely. There's so much talent, and one of the best, Kayla J, isn't even with a promotion.
Isn't that crazy? She is currently without a promotion. Right now, we're waiting on Force Pro Wrestling to start running some shows again. I know they're having a bit of an issue with a venue, so once that happens, I'm sure we'll be seeing her wrestle once again. But how much of a shame is it that Kayla J right now is currently unsigned, and it's Kayla J?
Yeah,
It's the frigging golden child. If anybody out there wants to book like a top-notch female talent where you need literally no worries as to her skill on anything, that's Kayla J. Kayla J is just the best, man. But let's talk about Taryn from Accounting and Kat Von Hees. So a really good match. Taryn from Accounting really can hold her own against Kat Von Hees. She was able to reverse a lot of different stuff. Kat Von Hees obviously has the strength advantage, clearly. I don't know if anybody in Alberta could ever match her in the strength advantage in the women's division. Perhaps the only person who could potentially put up I would probably say a little bit of a fight might be like Angelica. But it's Kat Von Hees. Kat Von Hees is clearly the powerhouse of the women's division in Alberta.
Definitely. And her power moves are brilliant.
Oh, they are
works
super
them
legit.
into the match so well that it never feels like she overdoes it.
No, she just has her character. Like, I don't know how long Kat Von Hees has been wrestling for, but it's been a long enough time where she's got that veteran feel where just like those small little moves always feel perfected, from how she looks at the crowd to how she like puts her arms up to how she reacts. Just she's got that veteran mentality through and through.
Yeah. And one thing, watching this match, while it was going on, I thought back a couple years to Giselle Shaw, and I just went, man, I wish we had the level of talent and the depth of talent that we have now when she was around.
Man, what we could have had if we had the division then, that, like, take our women's division now, put it 4 years ago. You know what I mean?
It would be insane.
I couldn't even imagine it at this point.
So we would be talking about a completely different Alberta wrestling. It would be so much more unique. We have 2 cage matches coming up in Edmonton for PWA. You would definitely see the women in one if we had that division.
Absolutely. Anyways, so we've got Taryn from Accounting. So Kat Von Hees picked up the win in this match. Not really, though, because we'll talk about what happened. So she gets the pin. Taryn from Accounting has her legs up on the rope. Referee doesn't see it. Ref calls for the 3 count. Kat Von Hees sees TFA's leg up on the rope. She gets the mic. She's like, no, that's not how I roll, sweetie, or honey. One of those terms of endearment. Sweetheart, that's what it was. Okay. And she was just like, if I'm gonna win, I'm gonna win clean, so let's restart this match. So TFA's like, oh, okay, fine. So the match restarts. They go to shake hands. Kat Von Hees offers the hand. TFA puts her hand out, kicks Kat Von Hees, starts rolling her up, rolls her up once, gets a 2 count, rolls her up a second time, gets the 3 count. She did what she needed to do to win, man. She did a bit of a heel tactic there. We got tweener TFA, man.
I don't know. I think it was absolutely fair.
It was fair.
The bell had rung to restart the match when they went for the handshake.
It was fair. I'll give it to you.
Taryn did nothing wrong.
Kat Von Hees took a second. She looked like she wanted to literally destroy Taryn from Accounting, and then she just took a second. She smiled. She kind of just laughed it off. And she's like, okay, you got me on that one. And TFA got her hands raised up. She's going to be a huge face, but man, she's using small heel tactics, and I like it. I don't know if I could see TFA being a heel so quickly. She's definitely still clearly a face. But if she one of these days wanted to be a heel, I would be pretty damn excited to see what she could do.
Definitely. I think it would be a bit too soon to turn Kat heel, though.
Yeah. Well, Kat's got to be like in the most tweenery position of any wrestler right now, where like she kind of feels like she's already on the fence of both face and heel sometimes. But
yeah, she feels like she exists in her own plane.
Yeah, outside of when she's facing Bobby Sharp, where she's clearly the face.
That's fair.
That's fair. So let's move on to our main event of the night. Now, this was only a 5-match card, but it didn't matter that it was only a 5-match card. The wrestling was so good by the end of the 5 matches. I was like, perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. Let's wrap this up. Let's go home because I got a bit of a drive. But we had Body Break with Melody and Gigi Rey taking on Michael Richard Blaze and Zoe Sager minus BVD because BVD wasn't there. According to MRB, he was injured doing bull riding to prepare for the match or something like that. I believe that's what he said, but I think Mark had it right saying BVD was too scared to be there. What do you think?
I don't think BVD's scared of anything.
He's scared of anything. I'm just kidding. So this was a handicap match, essentially a 4-on-2, really a 3-on-2, but man, was this is in contention for one of my matches of the year right now. This was so damn good. This is up there with the heavy metal original Marky match that we got to see last night. the Slammer heavy metal match that we got to see earlier this year, the Thickness versus MRB match that we got to see earlier this year. Like there, in my opinion, also the Sydney Steele Jumpin' Josh match I got to watch down in PPW was also amazing. Like I'm putting this one right up there with all of those.
Yeah, there's been some incredible wrestling, and we're only, 8 weeks in?
Yeah, we're March 8th right now. That's when we're recording these. Like, it's still so early in the year. We have so many things that could still happen. We have the anniversary show coming up. We've got a whole bunch of anniversary shows coming up. We're going to have, like, summer special shows. We're going to have cool mid-year, end-of-the-year shows. There's a lot still to come, and we've already got contenders from some serious matches, so I couldn't be happier. So this is our first time we get to see Gigi Rey, the PWA Women's Champion, wrestle down here in Calgary. And I will straight up say I absolutely love Gigi Rey. She's got the most natural heel tendencies I think I've ever seen just come play out in any wrestler. Like just how quickly she could go to poke the eye, stomp the foot, like slap you across the face. No matter what it was, like just small little heely moves. They felt so fluid and perfect coming out of Gigi Rey. She could like take down MRB and you're like, yeah, obviously.
Well, that was a really interesting part where Gigi Rey gets tagged in. Then MRB goes to tag in Zoe and Gigi Rey's going, no, I want you. It was so awesome to see what Gigi Rey could do. Because when I had heard that she had beat Zoe Sager for the title, I was going, there's got to be something really special.
Yeah, you can't just beat Zoe Sager. She's been like champion for like almost a year. She's been undefeated essentially in one-on-ones in PWA for an entire year. So for Gigi Rey to come in first match inside the PWA and dethrone the champion, I was like, I don't know how I feel about that until I saw Gigi Rey wrestle and I went, yeah, okay, I get it. I get it entirely. She is incredibly legit. Her look is great. She's got heel written all over her, man. I think it works really well. And teaming alongside Body Break in this, like having Michael Allen, Richard Clark right there, having Bobby Sharp right there, Zoe, having MRB, like having all these veterans around with you can put somebody who is as new as Gigi Rey is into one of my favorite matches of the year already, because they have people there who are able to help, like, kind of like just guide her in the small moments, and the moments where it was her time to shine, she just fucking nailed it.
Yeah, she was at that level.
She was at that level.
She wasn't dragged up by anyone. She was that good.
Yeah, she kept up the pace with literally the best wrestlers in Alberta wrestling. And that is not an easy accomplishment at all to be able to say. And as somebody who's watching from the audience, like, you know, the spot here, spot there, but overall, I'm like, damn, Gigi Rey, completely legit. And obviously MRB, Zoe Sager, two of the best wrestlers in all of Alberta wrestling, if not Western Canadian wrestling. Same with Michael Allen, Richard Clark, and Bobby Sharp. And getting to see Melody continue along in kind of this Healy manager role was really fun. We have one spot to talk about with that. That was really funny. There is some wrestling is fun. We'll talk about the fun sides of wrestling. But yeah, so Gigi Rey, she's like, no, I want MRB. He's like, all right. So he goes and like starts wrestling with her. He starts like putting her, like throwing her around a little bit, and he kind of gets a little bit of that cocky, like, what are you gonna do? Like, just let me go tag Zoe. And that's when Gigi Rey was like, okay, eye poke, foot stomp, face slap, whatever it took. She gets MRB down, then she just started beating on him, and that was at that moment I just went, oh, okay, Gigi Rey's awesome. Okay, I get this now. And that's when the match officially got sold for me. The crowd was so damn hot in this match. The crowd was so loud, man.
Well, that seems to be a trend with both MRB and Zoe Sager. They just get so much crowd involvement. And MRB's been doing it for years as both a heel and a face, where you have the loudest reactions. I'd love to see Zoe Sager as a heel.
I'm trying to imagine what it would look like. I'm curious to see how she would like portray her character. I think she could do it, man, like easily. She's incredibly talented. She could be a heel if she wanted to, but it's just based on her character now. I'd be so interested to see how she would run with a heel character, just because like she could take it in so many directions.
It might be one of the best turns, one of the most unexpected ones, and one of the most heartbreaking ones in Alberta wrestling.
Well, I've talked about having this like Zoe Sager, Kayla J tag team in the We Are Golden in the past and stuff. But like, heck, if Zoe turned and like kind of collaborated with Gigi Rey and they kind of ran the gauntlet on the women's division over, I mean, that's a completely different story than what I would have ever expected it to go. But that's something I would really enjoy, I bet.
I think it would be great.
Yeah, man. So let's talk about the spot with Melody, because it was the funniest thing and it made me laugh really hard. And you and me laughed for like a good 15 or 20 seconds. So Melody is still new. And sometimes when you're new, you miss a cue or you do something and it's really, really funny. And this is one of those moments. And this is a benefit to going to live shows. And this is something that I need to stress to everybody. No matter how good or how well you perform in the ring, once in a while, something happens that doesn't go the way you want it to. And it's incredibly funny. Even in the moment, it might seem a little frustrating or goofy. You look back on it with incredibly fun memories. And the first thing that I want to say that comes to mind with this is Coda and the balloon. Clearly an unscripted, funny, ridiculous moment that made Coda look a little silly, but it's what I remember of that entire show. Like, do you know what I mean?
It's my defining moment of Coda.
It's your defining Coda moment, is these moments.
Yeah,
so,
this might be the defining moment of Melody for me.
So far it is, because we've only seen her at 2 shows. So this is my defining Melody moment. It will change, but like I said, she's still relatively new. So there's this part where she goes up around the side of the ring, and referee Ryan Stevens is in the ring, and it's kind of on the edge. And she like gets up on the edge of the ring, and you and me kind of look at each other, and we're like, what is she doing? And she like puts her hands on his shoulder and like starts kind of giving him a back massage. It looked like a half hug, half back massage. And he like turns and looks at her and he's like, what are you doing? And he just kind of started walking away. And Melody just looks kind of defeated on the side of the ring. And she like crawls down and she puts her arms up. She's like, well, I tried. And you and me just start laughing.
He's working hard. He definitely deserves a back rub.
He definitely needs the back rub. Like, I think it's an incredibly nice thing for Melody to have seen that, Ryan Stevens was working his ass off in the ring. And she goes in there and gives him a little bit of a back rub. You know what? Thank you, Melody. Thank you for that.
But maybe he was upset because he was trying to be impartial in the match. He didn't want MRB and Zoe to point at that and go, you sold us out. You did a fast count because you got a back rub from Melody.
Interesting. Maybe they'll do some sort of like Baby Teve Melody storyline where like you can't have Baby Teve, or I should say Ryan Stevens, ref any of the matches that Body Break is in case of the impartial refereeing, because Melody's always there. It's like, I'll give you a back massage if you let him win.
Well, I mean, it'd be really funny if you did that and he just kept refusing it. Like he kept saying, I don't want this, but it continued to snowball into, you can't have him ref these matches. He's not impartial.
That would be hilarious. It's like one of those things where like an entire storyline got like just created out of a funny little aside. And that's what this is. And literally we've been talking about it for like 3 or 4 minutes, just this weird, funny little back rub. But it's one of the greatest things about live independent wrestling is these moments happen and you just laugh and you move on and things move on and it's just fun. And I loved it. So that's my Melody moment of the night. That's for sure. I loved it. So the match continues after that, and it was incredible spot. I don't know how many times MRB threw himself out of the ring or had to do a superplex off the top rope or some giant crazy move that looked like it hurt, like the Spanish Fly. Just happens. If you're taking place in the main event of a PWA show, let me tell you what you're going to expect. You're going to expect literally the greatest wrestling that Alberta wrestling can offer. A lot of times it does contain Michael Allen Richard Clark or Michael Richard Blaze or something like that, but there's a good reason for it. It's because these guys can literally put on clinics in wrestling. They're so good, they could be teaching like certain people who are in like the WWE, in my opinion, how to wrestle. But we had a very interesting win here at the very end. We had Michael Richard Blaze taking the pin to Gigi Rey. We had Gigi Rey pinning Michael Richard Blaze. I'm happy this happened, actually. I think this is an incredibly good win for Gigi Rey, especially now she's the new women's champion. She's only got like a couple of times that she's had to retain that championship. Actually, this will be the first time that she's actually had to retain that. I don't even know the Edmonton shows, but I'm pretty sure that she's never had to retain that championship up until the PWA 19th anniversary show.
Yeah, I don't think she's defended it.
Yeah, I don't think so. But I love seeing her wrestle, and honestly, like, when the matches start getting announced, when the whole card is going to be announced, I'm going to ask you to come and do a predictions episode with me. But when it comes down to thinking who I want to win between Zoe Sager and Gigi Rey, I don't know who I'm going to be choosing moving into this. Like, I really don't know. It's going to be a hard one.
It'll be a difficult one.
But we're not going to spoil any of that now. Before the PWA 19th anniversary show, everybody, remember to tune into Wrestlesode for our predictions episode, because we are doing one for the show. I'm super excited for that. It's going to be my first predictions episode for any Alberta wrestling, so that'll be fun to talk about.
So do you want to run over the card really quick for that show?
Well, we can do that quickly. Yeah, right now, let's do that. Let's pull it up right here. We've got a couple of matches announced. I was speaking to Kurt Sorokin, and he is obviously the promoter for the Prairie Wrestling Alliance. He said there's a couple more matches still to be announced, but we have 2 matches inside of a steel cage. We're bringing in a promotional match, which is going to be the chairman, Sean Spears, who is the current PWA Commonwealth champion, taking on Luchasaurus. I don't know if that's actually for the PWA Commonwealth Championship, though, is it?
I don't think it's been said if it is. They've just been promoting it as AEW Superstars Collide.
I kind of hope it's for the championship. I mean, I don't know who I would want to win over that one. But yeah, so we have the chairman, Sean Spears, who's going to be taking on Luchasaurus. That's going to be a really fun match. We've got the women's championship match, which is going to be Zoe Sager taking on Gigi Rey in the rematch for that women's championship. We're going to have Michael Richard Blaze versus Michael Allen Richard Clark inside of a steel cage for the PWA heavyweight championship. We're going to have Brandon Van Danielson taking on Bobby Sharp. I believe that's what that is? Yes?
Yeah.
Yeah. And we also are going to have Sheik Akbar Shabazz versus Andy Anderson inside of a steel cage. So those would be your 2 steel cage matches. And I believe that's everything that's been announced so far that I know.
Yeah, well, if Shabazz wins that match...
Oh, yes. We should have talked about
our good friend Thaddeus Archer III will no longer be the PWA Edmonton commissioner.
So... I love Thaddeus Archer III, but if he's no longer commissioner, what's Thad gonna do, man? Oh, is he just gonna go straight manager role? I don't know, but
he might open a restaurant that serves hot food exclusively.
Ooh, not just on Tuesdays.
I would be a patron of that restaurant.
I think
that would be a great idea.
We can call it Red Hot Thad's.
We'll work on the name a little bit.
Thad's Red Hots. I don't know. I'm tired. It's late. But so my jokes don't make any sense. But yeah, so we got those 5 matches, and then there's going to be 2 more to be announced. And my assumption, just basing it purely on assumption, is we're going to have something to do with the PWA Mayhem Championship and the Thickness Reed Matthews. And we're going to have something to do with the PWA Tag Team Championships and the Above Average Joes with Aiden Adams and Kenny Stryker, who are the current PWA Tag Team Champions. But besides that, I don't know what else they're going to be adding. I think it might just be another 2 matches, but I'm hoping that we're going to be seeing all the different titles there.
Yeah, I hope so. I think you'll probably have a multi-man or multi-person match for the Mayhem title. I'd love to see Kat Von Hees and Taryn from Accounting get into that match.
That'd be a lot of fun.
Because I know Thickness is pretty thick. A lot of people think he might be too thick, but I think Kat Von Hees can throw him around.
You know what? I think she could throw him around quite easily, I would say. She's definitely a powerhouse for a reason. Man, that'd be really fun. I mean, like, who else could we see with Jack? We got to see something with Jack Pride, probably the Spaceman. We're got to be seeing something with him, Titan, the Millennial Rebels. I don't know what's happening with Colton Kelly or Mo Jabari at this point. Like, there's a lot of talents out there that I'm still going, like, I don't know, but we're gonna have to keep.
I'd love to see the Above Average Joes versus the Millennial Rebels for the tag titles.
That would be really cool. I mean, if the Mayhem Championship doesn't get defended at this show, I wouldn't mind a triple threat tag match between the Millennial Rebels, the Above Average Joes, and Thick Pride, because I think that could build the Thick Pride story really good. I don't think they would win, but like, I don't know what they're doing with Thick Pride, but I friggin' love it, man. I'm waiting for this weird, like, loving tag team, best friend, hate the other guy. It's weird. It's a cool story, though. I want to see what happens with this.
Yeah, it's looking to be a really promising show. It could be in the running for Show of the Year.
I definitely think it could be a contender for Show of the Year. I'm sure we'll be doing awards later at the end of the year. So this is one of those ones that we're going to have to be keeping an eye on. So if you guys are in the Edmonton area on March 28th, please remember to swing by the PWA 19th anniversary show. It's going to be one hell of a show. Like, literally, no matter where you are in Western Canada, there's going to be amazing wrestling. We've got ECCW out in Vancouver. They're holding their anniversary show. PWA in Edmonton is going to be hosting their anniversary show. We have PPW down in Lethbridge who's going to be running a show. We're going to be having RCW Madness, which is going to be taking place in Gibbons, Alberta that night. We're going to have Ringside Wrestling out in Regina, I believe it is, hosting their anniversary show. We're going to have CWE in Regina hosting their anniversary show. We're going to have PCW, or Premier Championship Wrestling, out in Winnipeg hosting their anniversary show. And this is all on March 28th. That is, it's insane.
Get out and watch wrestling.
Yeah. If there's going to be a day of the year that you need to watch wrestling in Western Canada, make it March 28th, because it seems to literally be the anniversary date for Western Canadian wrestling this year. And you can find all that information over at the YYCWrestlingHub.com. All listed there. But that does it
appreciate the plug.
No problem. But that does do it for the show here tonight. Once again, PWA putting on another clinic of a show, a great show. That main event was just beautiful. Just another great week of Calgary wrestling for us, man.
I can't wait 2 weeks until we get to see Rosemary for RCW, and then it'll just be one short week. And you, Mitch, myself, we're going to be in Edmonton for PWA 19th anniversary.
It's going to be one of the most fun weekends, man. I'm going to enjoy myself. I'm going to get a nice hotel, and I'm just going to have a good time and hopefully snag a bunch of interviews. Which reminds me, this Saturday I will be traveling down to Lethbridge once again, and I will be doing interviews with a bunch of the different stars from the PPW. So please stay tuned for that. Pure Power Wrestling has incredible stars. I'm going to be interviewing. I don't want to give any spoilers ahead of time, just in case things don't work out, but I'll be interviewing champions. I will be interviewing a really cool tag team. A lot of really cool people I'll be interviewing. So you guys stay tuned next week for some amazing interviews coming out of the PPW in Southern Alberta and wrestling. I'm tired, man. It's like 10 p.m. on a Sunday.
Oh, that's early.
Yeah, I know. I still got to do editing and get this out for tomorrow, so... But thank you once again for joining me tonight, Paul. Before I do let you go, remember to plug your stuff and tell everybody where they can find you.
All right, you can find us, YYC Wrestling Hub, on Twitter. We love to talk wrestling. Just shoot us a line, ask us a question. We are trying to learn more about Stampede Wrestling, getting a little bit more into what wrestling in the 80s was like for Calgary. And otherwise, you can go to YYCWrestlingHub.com. It'll give you all of the shows in Alberta, match cards, ticket links if you can buy tickets online, location information. You can add it to your calendar on your iPhone or Android. It's meant to be a resource for the fans, so it makes it easier for them to get out and watch live wrestling.
Oh, man. Thank you so much for this tool, by the way. Like I say, I use it on a daily basis. It helps me keep track of a lot of stuff. It's literally like my number one resource, that and the Win Column Sports Network. That I go to for all the information that I need for things. So, but thank you once again, Paul. I'm sure we'll be chatting again here very soon. Like you said, we've got RCW Madness coming up here in 2 weeks. We're going to be seeing Rosemary versus Kylie Morgan. We're going to be seeing some incredible matches. We're going to be seeing Scully Crew wrestle his last match inside of RCW. So we have a lot to look forward to. So I will be chatting with you then, my friend.
Sounds great.
All right, have yourself a great night. A huge thank you once again to Paul from over at the YYC Wrestling Hub for joining me here today to talk a little PWA Revelation. Seriously, if you haven't gone over to YYCWrestlingHub.com, you got to go check it out. It's got all the different events happening around Alberta, when they're going to be, links to the event pages, places to buy tickets. It's got everything there. So if you're in Alberta and you want a place to find out where your next local wrestling show is going to be, go check out YYCWrestlingHub.com. So thank you everybody so much for tuning in here today. If you liked what you heard, please do hit that like button and subscribe on whatever podcast app you're listening to this on. It also helps out the show immensely if you left us a 5-star rating and review, if that is what you want to do. Don't forget to go check out Wrestlesode.com. You can check out our new website. It's getting a huge facelift right now. It's going to have a lot of really cool stuff, a lot of cool features, and it's going to be kind of like a one-stop shop for everything you need here in Alberta. So go check that out as well. Go head up the Win Column Sports Network over at wincolumnsports.ca. Seriously, it's got all the different articles. It's keeping you up to date on everything that's happened here in Alberta, from re-debuts to title changes to recaps of the entire week. You got everything over at the Win Column Sports Network. So go to wincolumsports.ca to be kept up to date on everything happening here in Alberta in the world of wrestling. I hope you all have yourself a wonderful day, and I'll chat with you soon.